Did you know that HDB has been around since before Singapore gained independence? These blocks along Stirling Road were the first HDB blocks to be completed way back in 1960. So how did public housing evolve from these to the ones we are familiar with today? So what was Queenstown like before this?
Queenstown was largely a rural area with swamps, rubber plantations and scattered kampongs. So one example is Bobekang village, which is where Stirling is today.
Oh, okay. So why Queenstown?
So in 1953, when the Singapore Improvement Trust developed Queenstown, they wanted to develop it as the first satellite town. Queenstown was chosen then because it was near the city centre, given the limitations and cost of transport back in the 1950s. It was also near industrial areas such as like Tanglin Halt, Alexandra Road and the harbour, and these also provided employment opportunities for residents at that time. At the start, development was progressing slowly. By 1959, SIT had completed about 3,000 flats in Queenstown. By 1960, HDB took over the development, accelerated the building pace significantly, and actually built 14,000 flats within just 5 years. So blocks 45, 48, 49 at Stirling Road are one of the first few flats completed by HDB in the 1960s.
So these flats have actually been here since before Singapore's independence?
Yes, exactly.
Wow. So as the first satellite town, how did Queenstown's development affect or influence the development of the other satellite towns?
As the first satellite town, Queenstown pioneered key town planning principles that HDB still uses today. And one of this is the model of self-sufficiency, where we provide comprehensive facilities to serve residents' needs within the town itself.
I've got a better grasp of how HDB met earlier housing needs, but how are we meeting the demands of modern living?
What are we looking at here?
Right, so over here is our mesh fabrication area. It's actually where the start of the entire process of our precast. We have coiled rebars that will be slowly uncoiled into straight segments where it will be transported into the machine over here. Where the cutting happens. So each individual cut segment will then be slowly pieced together by our welding machine here. It's all fully automated. So over here is our concreting station.
Could you explain what precast concrete is and how is it different from traditional concrete construction?
For one, traditional concrete is done on site and it's very traditional in the sense that it's very labour intensive, right? With precast concrete, everything happens in an off-site factory environment like this place, right? So basically we have pallets with side forms and these are always reused, and then we are able to cast multiple components at a time, reducing the time and speed of actually building a building.
So how has the technology for precast concrete actually evolved over the years?
Back in the 1980s, 1990s, you have your more conventional components like your staircase slides that are being produced, right? But fast forward 10 years, into 2000s, you actually have a bit more different types of components like your double tier columns, your household shelters, etc. that are being produced. And then in the 2010s onwards, you actually start having automated facilities, reducing time to cast as well as increasing efficiencies.
The slabs that are coming out now, they've been cured for 12 hours.
Yes, that's right. Typically it takes about 12 hours for curing.
Wow, this gigantic thing is an oven.
Yeah.
Wow. What components of an HDB flat are actually produced in this factory?
So typically in Singapore HDB, it's about 70% of the total concrete are precast components. Sustainability-wise, you are definitely having lesser workers on site, right? Noise-wise, also lesser construction noise because everything's produced off-site, and you only create noise when you're assembling and piecing together your components on site. Efficiency also because of the automation, there are lesser workers required. We're able to reduce wastage of concrete as well, right? Because everything is calculated to the exact dimensions and requirements already. Right, so over here you have facade components, right? Because of the use of precast, we're able to cater certain architectural designs to it. We can be a bit more creative with it.
So with precast, we can actually have more creativity and variety in our design of our homes?
Yes, that's right. I mean, even in current technologies, you can actually add colour concrete so that it actually reduces the need for painting.
Now, at an ongoing project site, these precast components are being put together.
That looks like a bomb shelter. What's about to happen here?
Now we are preparing to do the hoisting for this household shelter.
So it's actually precast off-site and then it's brought here
Yes.
to be
assemble, install?
Yes, yes. So you expedite the work progress
Yeah.
for the whole work site with all this precast installation. It's so much faster.
Oh, it's so surreal to see it like this on its own.
Yes,
you know, seeing
yes.
it earlier on, and then it's going to be installed directly into the unit.
Yes, yes, correct.
Wow. So the bomb shelter is being lifted up. It's so strange to see a bomb shelter floating. It's really quite incredible to see. I've never seen something like this in my life.
Now we are going up to the block 39A. We are going to 36 story lah. So this is the entry exit point lah. Okay.
We are very high up. I'm a bit nervous. So this is the bomb shelter that we saw being hoisted up just now. It's now being installed on the 36th floor. This is the top level of someone's house, so it's really interesting to see it being installed piece by piece, and just to think that people will be living here not too far from now it's really quite incredible. You have to make sure that the four corners are aligned properly, so now they're communicating and ensuring that it's all in the right place, so between them and the crane operator as well. It does not look easy at all. I think we don't think a lot about the amount of technology and manpower and of course engineering that goes into building our homes, and I think a lot of the time we take it for granted. So it really is a treat to see this today and to see how all this is being installed and how it's all being constructed in real time. Using precast technology reduces HDB's dependence on manual and unskilled labour, leading to safer work sites and better quality control. Here at another work site, HDB is going to show me how they've adopted another form of automation.
Okay, so here you are seeing two painting robots which is deployed to paint this dwelling unit. Cover both the walls, the ceilings, and even paint around openings without being spraying out of the window.
Right, so it's very precise.
Very precise.
So now I'm just watching the robot paint the ceiling, which I think is a very laborious task for a person to do. So it's pretty cool to see the robot doing it. My impression of the use of robots is that, they want to save time. As we know, in Singapore, there's always demand for houses, so I think it helps to speed up the process a little bit by having one person operate two robots. Yeah. So this is a fully painted unit.
Yes, indeed. So this unit is painted by robots.
It's very, very evenly painted and super clean looking. So why robots?
At HDB, we have been studying how to harness the power of robotics and automation to make our construction processes more efficient and safer while delivering better homes for Singaporeans. Since August 2023, we have been working with our contractors on how to use surface finishing robots at our construction sites. A 2-year trial for robots was initiated at a site in Yishun, where we used robots to automate and speed up labour-intensive tasks, such as the painting of interior surfaces.
So how did this trial go?
The use of these robots has helped improve trade productivity by up to 30%.
Oh, so that means they can do more in the same amount of time. So how is the robot able to do that?
Equipped with sensors, robots with planned routes are able to navigate themselves within the unit to apply finishing works for walls. And because robots are able to achieve consistency in their finishing works, thereby maintaining quality standards of our flats.
So are robots being implemented across all BTO sites right now?
HDB will be implementing robots for painting works, starting with half of our new BTO project sites this year. So we'll work closely with industry partners and relevant agencies like BCA to see how we can bring down the cost of implementation, which is a key concern for some contractors.
The next place we are headed to is where we can find one of the largest 3D printers in the whole of Southeast Asia. And it's where HDB has been printing some of the components that we can see around our estates. Alright, so where are we at?
We are at one of the largest 3D printing facility in Centre of Building Research. These are the specially customized 3D printing materials. So they are actually pre-packed in powder form, and then this is where the water dosage will happen. And then when the water starts to dose to the powder, it will start to become in a slurry form. So now I'm actually checking the condition of the print material to see whether it's hard enough for printing. So right now, as you can see, it's still slightly wet, so we still need to wait for a few minutes for it to become harder before we start the print. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'll just start executing the print. So from this panel, I'm also able to control the print speed. This is a prototype design that we are trying out for a small cylindrical planter with very unique curved shapes on the sides.
Yeah, I can see it's starting to take shape.
In the traditional method, it's very difficult to use a steel mold to achieve such curved structures. So it's only with 3D printing that we are able to do this.
That's really cool. Actually, it reminds me of baking a bit. It's like when you're, when people are typing the cake. Yeah, so it reminds me of that a little bit, but it's cool to see all the layers come together. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks when it's done. It's very different from what I had in mind, because in my head, a 3D printer, I associate it more with plastic and kind of like a scanning kind of motion. But this one is obviously so different because it reminds me of more of like a pen. You know how it's like it's pointing down and it's doing like layer by layer. So it's definitely not what I imagined it to look like. And it's also really, really big. Why is HDB venturing into 3D printing?
So HDB has been putting a lot of efforts in advancing our construction and design technologies. 3D concrete printing is one of these efforts that we are exploring. It eliminates the need for us to build complicated steel molds, which can be quite costly. With this in mind, we have set up a 3D printer in CBR. So this 3D printer can print up to a print area of 9 meters by 3.5 meters and up to 3.8 meters high. So that's about the size of a SBS single deck bus.
I see, okay. And so what else has HDB been using the 3D printer for?
So we have printed some featured facade walls in Tengah, and we also printed architectural landscape benches at Bidadari. So these designs are customized and unique, and it helps to enhance the identity of these areas.
Oh, I see, okay. So I'm going to ask a question that I think will be on everyone's minds, which is, are 3D printed rooms a possibility in the near future?
As of now, we are not using it for high-rise buildings, but we are constantly doing more studies to ensure the structural integrity and performance of such 3D printed components before we consider putting it into high-rise.
So this is a 3D printed room. Who knows, maybe one day we'll be sleeping in one of these in our future home. Well, there seems to be a lot going on here, like balloon sculpting, I think.
As you can see, everybody of all ages, they're having fun, they're going through a balloon sculpting lesson now. And I think it's important that we have community notes like this to bring everyone together. And by the way, do you know the name of this structure? Actually, we're at Block 40 Market Drive, and this place is called aptly Come for Tea La. It's a play on the words come to Block 40 La. And we are extremely proud of this name because this was selected out of 70 resident submissions for this particular very colourful and nifty space in the community.
Yeah, I love that the residents are involved in it. It gives them like a sense of like belonging and
Exactly.
also a stake in this facility.
And a sense of ownership. We hope that through notes like this, we can get the community rallying together to be socially engaged, to be socially connected.
And there is like a goal for this to be rolled out to other estates as well.
Well, Queenstown is kind of like a microcosm of the larger Singapore population because today we already have 1 in 4 residents who are 65 years and above, and we have about 30% of residents who are 60 and above. In October 2021, Queenstown was designated as a pilot health district, and we want to really pilot integrated solutions to see how we can enhance the health and well-being of our residents throughout the life course. At the same time, we are also trying to see whether we can implement more dementia wayfinding murals, community art pieces of familiar favourites like Peng Kueh, Ang Ku Kueh and Chai Tau Kueh and Kueh Pai Ti. All this to help our seniors who have dementia find their way around in the community. And of course, at the same time, implement more dementia go-to points because dementia affects about 1 amongst 11 seniors in our midst today. So we want to see what lessons we can draw from Queenstown and after that apply and maybe replicate across Singapore.
Right. So what are some of your favourite spots in Queenstown?
Well, there's a lot. Coincidentally, many of them start with the letter H. I have a lot of hawker centres in Queenstown, great hawker food. I have also plenty of heritage that's packing in Queenstown. So hawker food wise, we have Mei Ling Food Centre, we have Alexandra Village Food Centre, we have ABC Hawker Centre, as well as Margaret Drive, which is just right in this neighbourhood.
A home is more than just its walls and roofs. It's the familiar parks, shops, and shared spaces around the estate, which all come together to make a place truly feel like home.